Hello and welcome back to SML Total Access. I'm Primetime, and with me is my new trusted co-host for the day anyway, and that's Matt. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Prime, happy to be here, man. I've never been on this show, so
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Wow, man. What an honor. My new friend, my best friend, BFF's going at it here on Total Access. This is an emergency episode, and let's just get right into it. First down, Mad Bomber, slowest start to a season of his SML career. What the frick is going on with Mad Bomber?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously he's got a rookie quarterback who's really raw. I mean, his throwing accuracies are all under 80, which I don't know if that's a threshold, but I kind of look at that as a threshold if I'm looking at a quarterback. Um, and you've seen that issue. He's missed passes. He's thrown some passes. He had one, I think, against Dan where he threw it to, I think, his running back, and his wide
Mm-hmm.
receiver caught it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that far off target. I think that's a struggle. I think Bomber's getting frustrated. You could tell. He's mentioned. If someone rolls out, he says he's going to now start rolling out.
Mm-hmm.
That's not his game. I mean, you can't just go from his offense to a rollout offense. It's not
Mm-hmm.
that easy. And his schedule's been tough. He had Spades, who he lost a close one to. He beat you. That's an impressive win. And then he lost to Dan, which that game was closer than the score, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. The problem is it doesn't get any easier. He's got Faz, Doink Face, Colt, who almost made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He's got RD in place of Spades. That doesn't get any easier. Future,
Wow.
obviously, he's got QP. I want to be positive on Bomber because he's Bomber. I don't know, man. I think he just needs to stick to his game and stop getting frustrated and just ride the Chubb train.
Yeah, that's a good point. Right now, Bomber fifth in the league in rushing still, and I've seen him throw it a little more than normal. Something interesting though, he's 26th in the league in scoring defense, 29th in yards allowed, total yards, and 31st in pass yards allowed. That vaunted Mad Bomber defense, especially last cycle, that was so good. That's no longer the case there, and I'm not sure why that is. That's hurting him. And then, like you said, that quarterback who he traded up for, third pick in the draft, took him, normal development, good speed, decent arm, but that accuracy is gonna hurt. Um, I think that's the issue. So here's the question. Then you listed off that schedule. Do you think he makes the playoffs?
Ooh, before I looked at the schedule, I would say Mad Bomber in the playoffs, that they go hand in hand. It's going to be close. I do think he makes the playoffs. I don't. He's not going to win that division. Calling it now.
Mhm.
He's going to have to get in as a wild card. I don't think he's going to be within a couple games of the division. I think he's going to get in 5, 6, or 7 seed, but he sneaks in.
And I guess anything can happen when you're in the dance for sure, as we've seen. But yeah, I think he's got a good shot at sneaking in. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this could be the first year since he was the Steelers at the end of one of the cycles a few years ago, but I don't count that. Since he's really been in the league, this would be the first year he could possibly miss the playoffs, which would be nuts. Um, all right, guys, moving on now to second down. Second down. We had the blip. We had players pre-blip that were great players that now are trash. Maybe some players that are trash that are good. Do you have anybody that you've kind of had your eyes on post blip that's changed?
Yeah, I think there's a couple. I'll go with the one that I've put in chat the most, and that's going to be No Bean. This guy with the Patriots, 5 or 6 wins. I think before the season and before the blip. I think he had a couple ties in that. Him and I played. He was decent, but I ended up beating him. And not that I'm a metric, but it was a high scoring game, and I beat him. And I didn't walk away from that game thinking, wow, I just upset a great player or anything. He was a good player, and I've called him the best rusher in the SML. But outside of that, he didn't really strike me as all that impressive. Now he gets freight train, and what did he have? 13 wins last season, and he won a division that you are in. So to me, I don't know if that's. I think that speaks to freight train more than anything else, and how overpowered it is. But that's a total night and day difference from 5 wins and 2 ties to 13-3 and winning the Goats division. That's
Yeah,
that's impressive.
it is impressive. I'm going to stick in the primer posse and I'm going to look at Doink Face. Um, the guy last or pre Blip, he was a solid player, playoff fringe player, but I mean, this guy was a legit Super Bowl contender last season until he choked hard. I mean, kind of the story of his life, really, in the playoffs. But he's beat Faz down. He's beat Dan. Well, he beat Faz last season, but he's beat Dan this season. He's got Tom Brady, and Tom Brady throws dots for the guy. He uses that Bucks team really well, and he's not a bad team builder. And he's been solid post Blip. Um, Obviously, he was a missed field goal away from beating Faz pre Blip, but really, this Bucks team has been really a recipe for success for Doink Face, and it's just interesting to see that how that all can kind of come together for a player in a division that is really tough. I mean, you're playing Dan, you're playing Faz, and you're also playing Future, and Future's another player that's we've talked about that's been impressive post Blip.
Yeah, going back to Doink Face, that's why I was so high on him going into the playoffs last season. He was actually my Super Bowl um, choice out of the NFC. He's a great passer. I am curious to see though if this is Brady's last year. He had Rodgers,
Hmm.
and then he's had Brady. What's that going to look like when
Yeah.
if he doesn't have a quarterback with those kind of abilities? I'm curious.
Yeah, I played him. Obviously, he was in my division when I was the Chiefs, and I thought he was a very solid passer, but he was prone to make a mistake here or there throwing the ball. And Tom Brady's kind of, I think, helped avoid that with some of the abilities he has. It will be interesting to see, and you know, teams like the Panthers and teams like the Falcons are only going to get better with Dan and Faz building those teams. So it'll be interesting for sure.
Definitely.
Moving on now to third down here. We again post Blip. We've had some shakeup and rivalries. Do you have a rivalry you're looking forward to seeing kind of grow or develop?
Well, I guess the obvious one would be the most fun that we've had in the last couple of days, and that's Dan and Faz. But I'm looking elsewhere, and this is more of like not just what am I looking forward to watching develop, but this is kind of a challenge. I want to see Dump and Polly get into it.
Hmm.
These are two awesome, like two elite trash talkers,
Yeah.
and I know Dump has been. He's got a lot going on in his life. Totally understandable. Moving across the country, new job.
Hmm.
So I know he was a little checked out last season, but he's starting to settle in. He's got the job. He's got a place. He's mentioned about being more competitive. He's called you out. I think you guys play. Um,
Yeah.
and that's kind of a two-horse race. I don't see Graham's challenging for the whole season. At DW, I can't quite figure him out. Um, I want to see that rivalry develop just because those guys can talk trash, and I want a little Dump meets. I want Dump to kind of poke at Paulie more than he pokes at Meats, or like he pokes at Meats. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point there. It seems like they're almost a little nervous of each other, and they don't want to feed the fire or something. And that's a good one. Um, I would like to see really develop the Dan Faz rivalry. Dan joined the NFC South to walk Faz down and beat him, and he did it really the first season. I mean, he beat him in the NFC Championship game. And what I would like to see is for Faz to kind of rebound after kind of a shaky start this season, especially, and kind of answer back with a few haymakers of his own. We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen a really strong back and forth, and I would like that, and I think that'd be good for the league to have just Dan and Faz going toe to toe every year in the playoffs for a shot at the Simbardi. I think that would be good for the league, and both of those guys are pretty good trash talkers.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's all friendly banter, but they each know how to get under the other's skin.
Oh,
I think Dan more so than
yeah,
Faz, but and I think Dan knows how to play against Faz when they do play each other to really get under his skin.
yeah.
I love it. That I'm so glad they're in the same division.
The biggest problem is Faz openly admits that Dan gets under his skin, and that's rule number one to not do if you're gonna be like rival or trash talk with somebody. Faz just lets it all out there, like, yeah, Dan's offense frustrates me. This like don't admit it, Faz. Don't admit it because you're already fighting a losing battle. Um,
That's right.
Moving on to fourth down. Hey, you know I like narratives, and this is going to be a fun one. Whose legacy is on the line this cycle?
Boy, I had to think a little hard about this one, and maybe your answer will spark some others. But and this is a dangerous answer for me because in about 48 hours, I got to talk to this person. But I'm going to go with Meats.
Wow.
He's got a good Chargers team. He's in a division that I expect him to win. He should not be competing neck to neck with Colt. Demu's okay. He went to a Super Bowl. He's a good player, but that Raiders team's not that great, and he hasn't shown flashes yet. He also went to Vegas, which will probably check him out for a month and a half since it was his first time. So
Hmm.
Meats has that folding chair narrative. He's tried to pawn it off on some others recently, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think that Meats needs to make a Super Bowl run. I just think Meats needs to get in the playoffs. He needs to win a game or two. But I think the most important thing is win a game against a top dog in the playoffs. If he beats you, if he beats Bomber, if he beats QP, even if he goes out the next round, he can hang his hat on that win going forward.
And Meese is your Eminem kind of co-host. Is there a little bias there? Are you rooting for Meats or no?
Well, I would root for Meats against most people except for you and me.
Yeah, that's good. See, I like that. I like that. That's a good answer. So I've got two. I've got one in the AFC, one in the NFC, and my NFC guy whose legacy is on the line, and maybe a chance to revive a legacy is Future Empire. He's really like we already touched on a little bit, but he's early in the SML OG days. Future Empire was always a fringe Super Bowl player. He's never made a Super Bowl, but he's always been really good. But the last two cycles, he's taken a step back. He's had some decent wins, but never really scared anybody. But all of a sudden, this guy, I mean, I think he won the NFC South last year, and this year he's 2-0 and he's ready to beat Faz um, with Taysom Hill. I think Future Empire has a chance if he can make a Super Bowl. Just prove like, hey, you know what? There's some OGs in this league that can still get the job done, and I think it'd be good for Future to win a conference with Faz and Dan and Doinkface all in that conference. That's not even including Paulie or Dump. I think that'd be impressive. But AFC wise, I'm looking at QP. He's got his one ring, and it's kind of Bomber actually made an interesting comment, and Paulie kind of ripped on him about it. Bomber said that he was gonna hang his head and wipe his tears with his one Sombardi, and that's all he needed. I'm curious how QP is going to look at it and see if QP is going to try to expand on that and win multiple Sombardis in one cycle. To me, QP has the most potential to do that. I think QP is a really, really good player, and he doesn't quite get the hype that he deserves. I'm not sure why that is, but QP is scary good, and he has a chance to really take the league by storm.
QP is scary good, and that team is scary good. And you're right, he flies under the radar. And yeah, I when I watch him play, I just think, man, this guy's a heck of a player, and that's why I picked him out of the AFC season 44. But I wasn't here for the future glory days. I think that's a great pick. So maybe I'm witnessing the rebirth of the future glory days.
Mm-hmm.
But he looks sharp, man. He won that division. He's leading it again. That's a tough division. Hats off to future, man. I wouldn't have wanted to be the Saints
Yeah,
and be in that division. So hats off. But I'm gonna follow your coattails here and take an NFC team as well, and I'm gonna go with Paulie. Paulie, beloved by the league, funny guy, always has the witty thing to say.
yeah,
Um, but he's kind of a regular season warrior. Paulie's always good except for the one season. I'm sorry, but he knows what he's doing. No one wakes up to plays Madden and base aligns and drops their coverage back.
mm-hmm.
Um, but he gets in the playoffs and he just fizzles out. And I know it might be pot calling the kettle here, but I've made a Super Bowl. I've made some AFC Championship runs
Yep,
last cycle. So I think Paulie needs to, if Meats wasn't so picked on, Paulie would probably be the folding chair. He
yeah.
is a first round exit guy, and Faz blew the brakes off of him um, last playoffs. And Paulie said, "Oh, he has evasive. I can't compete with that." Paulie's got evasive now, so he and Faz hasn't forgot that.
Yeah.
So come on, Paulie, let's make a run here.
Yeah, I think Paulie he needs a signature win in the playoffs a lot like Meats, and I think he can do it. And He studies the game. He's got some piece. He's got some pieces there, like you said, like Meats. Just get one signature win, and not only can that help your legacy, quote unquote, but that can help really spark a fire and get you on a run as well. Um, but okay, moving on now to the extra point here. This is a hot topic. We've had some guys retire. We've had some guys come back, and this and that. When do you know it's time to retire from Madden or from league play, or what's your philosophy?
Yeah, I think it's simple for me. I've been playing Madden online since whatever version was the first to have online, and I've been playing in CFM since you could do that. I did NCAA leagues. For me, when I stop having fun is the day I'll stop playing. I can go 16 and 0, well 17 and 0 I guess, or 0 and 17, and I guarantee you I will have the same amount of fun. Yeah, it's cool to be doing well and in the playoffs and puffing your chest and being talked about on shows and things like that. But at the end of the day, Madden doesn't come down to winning and losing for me. I've never looked at it that way. So as long as I'm having fun, whether even if it's not necessarily I'm loving the game itself, which early on when this game came out I wasn't having fun because I hated the defense. Um, I love being in the chat with the guys, and as long as I'm having fun in one of those areas, I'll still be here.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. For me, my opinion changed. We had the infamous Memorial Day miracle, and then like a season or two after that, I had my chance to get redemption, and I beat Sunday. And after that game, I told myself, you know what? I'm just gonna play this game just to have fun and enjoy myself. Of course, I'm still competitive, but some of that competitive edge I feel like has worn away a little bit. I'm always gonna want to win and prove people wrong and get as many championships as I can. But in the same token, I think that when I'm done having fun and beyond that, when I'm burnt out on doing some administrative duties in the league, that'll probably be when I call it quits. You never want to do a disservice to your league members by giving 50%, maybe as a player or as an owner or commissioner. So when I realize that, hey, you know what, I'm giving 50, 75% of what I used to, then I'll probably hang it up. But not until at least Prime Junior is that probably going to happen. So.
Well,
But
I look at it. Why do I play any video game? Not Madden, any video game. I play Mario Kart because it's fun. If it
yeah,
wasn't fun, I wouldn't play it. So win or lose, obviously I like to be competitive. I said that, but I just want to have fun, and this league is a blast. So I ain't going anywhere.
awesome. No, that's awesome. Well, guys, that is Matt. I'm Prime, the dynamic duo, the BFFs, the AFC South rivals, if you will. Matt, it was a pleasure. I appreciate you coming on and doing Total Access for a special weekday edition of the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Prime.
All right, thanks. All right, everybody. That was SML Total Access. I'm Prime. He's Matt. You guys have a great rest of your week, and let's get ready. Let's get fired up for some SML football.